doing math with RHB, and today we're doing lesson 9, which is order of operations, whole numbers, BEDMAS, the dead guy rules. Okay, originally, mathematicians, math is a universal language. It doesn't matter whether you interpret it into French, English, Spanish, whatever. Okay, the numbers still mean the same thing. Doesn't matter if you say 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're still talking numbers. Okay, numbers are scientific, mathematic, and they decided years ago, this is why we call it the dead guy rules, they decided years ago if there are multiple operations in a question, a mathematical question, what order should the question be solved in? Okay? You should solve it in a certain order, and it's always done the same way. All right? There are rules to follow. If you follow the rules, all right, you end up with solving the question, and everyone should end up with the answer the same. If we have everyone solving it in a different manner, you're going to have equations that all have different answers, right? Which is okay just on paper and pencil tasks, but if you're actually translating it into working with materials out in a job, okay, that will not work. And that's why we came up, or they came up with BEDMAS. And in our case, BEDMAS is your dead guy rules, and it's the order of operations. So we're looking at if you find multiple operations in your question, you're looking at if there's brackets, you do those first. If there's any exponents, you multiply those out next. Divide or multiply, doesn't matter which one you come to first, excuse me, you solve those first. So divide and multiply in the order they appear, left to right. And add or subtract, they're last, and they are in the order that they appear, left to right. All right, so there's something called protocol. Protocol is a format that they use for writing questions and solving. All right, so the format, which is just basically the proper correct form, all right, when a question has, I gotta shut this up a little bit. When a question has no equal sign, all right, to solve it, all right, equal sign is placed under the question, to the left of the question, and under on the next line. All right, then you're going to solve one piece. All right, so if there's any brackets, you're going to solve those first. All right, and you do one step per line. Now, in many cases in school, they often consider it 1 mark, 1 line. So skip a line, skip a mark. All right, so solving one thing per line. Okay, the equal signs are going to follow underneath each other until you get the final answer. Okay, and basically, if you have a worksheet and and you can solve everything on the worksheet, that's great. If you have to rewrite the question in your notebook or online paper or wherever, right, or type it out even on a tablet, whatever it is, don't change the order of the question, because you will change the actual question by doing that. So I'm just doing an example here. I'm going to push this up higher. 5 subtract 3 times, in a bracket, 12 subtract 8, and then outside the bracket divided by 6. So no equal sign either side of that question, so my equal sign is going to go underneath. And the first thing you're going to solve is a bracket, if there is one. Well, we do have a bracket, so we need to do that first. Now, what do you do with the other numbers? They just get written underneath. 5's under 5, subtracts under that, 3's there, multiply signs there. Okay, now we can solve 12 subtract 8. Not exactly a tough question. So you have 4. And then you have divided by 6. That's the last piece. Alright, so go back to the BEDMAS rules. Got rid of the bracket. Is there any exponents? No exponents. We haven't covered that yet. No exponents, so we skip that step. Alright, do we have any multiply or divide? Well, going along, we have a multiply. So you do multiply or divide in the order that you find them, left to right. So I'm coming across a multiply first. Again, equal sign's going to line up underneath. Once you do that, right, we haven't dealt with the 5, the subtract yet. So 5, subtract, still gets written. 3 times 4 is 12. And divided by 6. So the question is slowly shrinking in size and steps. Again, equal sign goes underneath. Alright. We haven't dealt with the 5 and the subtract yet. We still have a divide, and that has to be done first. So 5, oops, come on, subtract, 12 divided by 6 is 2. So the last thing, 5 subtract 2 is 3. All right. Taking a look at a couple of unusual questions. Again, whole numbers. First thing you do is a bracket. Second, exponents if there are any. Divide or multiply in the order they appear, left to right. Add, subtract in the order they appear, left to right. And I have 2 questions that we'll solve. One has another special feature that is something that's unwritten, but you need to know. So this first one, there's no equal sign either side. So 4 plus 9 times 3. So equal sign. I have no brackets, I have no exponents, so you skip those. Do I have a multiply or divide? I have a multiply. So 4 gets written under the 4. Plus sign gets written under that. 9 times 3 is 27. Equal sign goes underneath. All I have left is 27 plus 4. This is 31. My mind went blank. Alright. This question is a little different. You see a 6 next to a bracket. Inside the bracket you have 3 plus 6 times 2. So no equal sign either side, that's the easy part. Equal sign goes underneath and to the left. Alright, now you have to do what's inside the bracket first. Now we have 2 operations in the bracket. We have an add and we have a multiply. According to the rules of BEDMAS, you still have to do the multiply first. So it's break down the 6, write the bracket. 3 plus 6 times 2 is 12. That's still in the bracket. We're going to go equal sign again underneath. Haven't finished with the bracket. Still haven't done that, so I'm writing down a 6. Right. Inside the bracket, I'm going to put the bracket here just to show you this special feature. 3 plus 12 is 15. Now, when you have a number before a bracket and no operation sign is there, so there's no add, no subtract, no multiply, divide, right? It's automatically multiply. It's unwritten, right? Unless someone tells you that, you wouldn't know. So I've kept the bracket there on purpose, so to show you that 6, okay, no operation sign between that bracket, it's multiply. So 6 times 15. Alright, so 6 times 5 is 30. Carry the 3, 6 times 1 is 6, plus 3 is 9. So it's 90. Right, so anytime you have a number next to a bracket, no operation sign, the operation is automatically multiply. It's unwritten. That's why sometimes you need a little bit of help to navigate through some of the math.